Hello, and welcome back. This is Barrett from the C4 Cyber Club here at Cypress College. In this video, we are going to cover the NDG Linux Essentials Lab 8, Managing Files and Directories. So we will be performing the following tasks, understanding how to use globbing, which we've touched on a bit in the other modules, and creating, moving, and deleting files and directories. So back into globbing. So a reminder, the use of glob characters in Linux is similar to the way many operating systems refer to as wildcard characters. So you are matching file names using patterns, right? So let's go ahead and get into the hands-on portion. So if I did a listing, remember we are in the home folder. And I could essentially do the same exact thing and just echo asterisk. And it's going to list the same information. Notice it's all white. And this is because it's actually not running through the ls command, which if you remember in module 5 when we talked about aliases, when this ls command is run, it's actually running, ls -- color equals auto. So it's actually, that's what gives the folders this blue color. But in this case, we listed out the same information, but it's just not colored. So it's important to know that you might think, oh, it does the same thing, but not necessarily. So moving on to step 2. This is something we did before too. We could echo out anything that begins with a D with an asterisk, anything that comes after it. So that's going to give us the folders that begin with the letter D. We did the same with P. We will see pictures and public folders there. Now, so far we've been using asterisk at the end, right? But we can actually say echo out anything that begins with any number of characters, but it ends with the letter S. So here you see documents, downloads, pictures, templates, and videos. They all begin with various letters, but they all end with S. So it can go both ways. And we can even add multiple asterisks. So let's do echo D asterisk N asterisk S. So you can see we're looking for anything that begins with D, has any number of characters, and then has an N in it, and then followed by any other characters, ends with an S. So you can see here that documents and downloads both fit that criteria. It begins with a D. There is an N in the middle, or not in the middle, but somewhere within there, between the D and the S, essentially. Okay, and back to the question marks. So this will echo out, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is going to echo out anything that has 6 characters. Doesn't matter what they are, what letters they are, as long as they have 6 of them, it will list them out. So we have public and videos, both 6-letter words. And we could do echo anything that begins with the letter D and has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 more characters. And that's going to give us documents and downloads. All right, combining a little bit more. Let's echo out anything with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 characters, followed by however many other characters, as long as that ends with an S. Okay, so we can see that gives us documents, downloads, pictures, templates, and videos. They all end with S. They began with at least 5 characters. They could be longer. So you're essentially looking at anything 5 characters or more that also ends with the letter S. So now remember, the square brackets specifies which character is allowed in a string. So we could echo bracket DP. So we're looking to echo out anything that either begins with D or begins with P. And then we'll add an asterisk to allow for any number of characters after that. So of course we get desktop, documents, downloads for the D portion, and pictures in public for the P portion. Now if we use an exclamation, I'm going to press the up arrow. Since this command is very similar, I'm going to move over. If we use the exclamation, this is saying exclude these letters. So we do not want D or P listed. So that gives us the rest of the directories: music, templates, and videos. Now we can also tell it a specific range. And because this is a range, it needs to make sense alphabetically. So you can't go Z through A, for example. It can't go backwards. It has to move forward in the ASCII table. So in this case, we do D through P, followed by an asterisk. So we have desktop, documents, downloads. We have pictures in public, but we also have music in there because it lands within this range of letters D through P. And now I'm going to press up again to bring up that last run command, and I'm going to add the exclamation to exclude this range. And so now we get back only templates and videos. All right, so that's it for globbing. Let me go ahead and clear the screen. We can move on to copying, moving, and renaming files and directories. Okay, so we are in our home folder. We can list out the contents. We've all become pretty familiar with these folders, but let's copy something from, you'll see here, it's in the root level in the Etsy folder, and let's copy hosts over to our home folder. So CP is the command for copy. We give it an absolute path, and then we give it the new name that we want to copy it into here, into our current folder. Now if I do a listing again, we now see that we have the hosts file in here. If I cat hosts to pull it up on the screen, this is the contents. So remember, we made a copy of this. We didn't move it from this section. That's definitely not something you want to move, because that's a system file that you will need. But that demonstrates how we can copy files around the file system. So now let's remove that file. So we can say rm for remove hosts. We do a listing again. We see that file is gone. And let's go ahead and copy it back. And then this time we'll use this -v option. This stands for verbose. And essentially when you use this on commands, it's going to display a little bit more information about what's happening. In this case, it displays that line, because we added -v, it's basically saying I copied hosts from the Etsy path to the host file here. So if we do ls again, we see that is now back. Okay, so let's go ahead and remove that again. And there's a slightly different way to do this. So we removed it. I'm going to run that same command, but add a dot at the end. And what this does, it indicates that the current directory is the target. So you see that that showed up here because it is the current directory that we were in. So anytime you want to just say, I need to grab this file, I need to copy it to whatever directory I'm in right now, this is where you would use the CP, the path of the file, and then just a dot to copy it into the current directory that you're in. Okay, so let's go ahead and remove hosts again. I'm going to clear screen to clean this up. Okay, so ls, let's move into the Etsy folder. Let's do a long listing. You see the contents of the Etsy folder here. And we can look at the host file right here. So this is the file that we've been working with. And now it's showing us that we could run this -p option, which it's going to preserve, you'll see up here, preserve file attributes by using that option. And remember, these are the file attributes. So that's just a good way of preserving all of these settings here rather than creating something new when you copy it into a different folder. You could say cp-p host file. Remember, we don't have to give the absolute path anymore because we're actually in that directory, but instead we're giving the absolute path to our home sysadmin folder. So it's kind of the other way around. Now, if we type in cd and only cd, remember this is actually going to take us back to our home folder. If we type ls, we see hosts here, but to see the attributes, we need to use a long listing, and we can actually even specify only list out hosts. And we can see it has the similar attributes as was in the original. All right, in this step, let's go ahead and, let's go ahead and remove hosts. We're going to copy hosts again using the tilde. So remember, that's going to copy it to our home folder. So it's back there. But we're also going to we're going to copy using a different target name. So we're going to copy this hosts and call this new name. We do ls-l, we see we have the original hosts, and then we have this new name. So this is actually kind of a way of renaming, but there is a better command to rename, which I believe we'll get to. I don't know if it's in this next section. It might possibly be. It's mv for move, but you can also use it to rename. But in this case, if you're using this style to rename, it just takes one extra step of removing the host file so that you only have the new name. So, and I'll go ahead and remove the new name one as well. So we're back to having no files. Okay, let's see. I wonder if MV is next. Nope. Okay, make directory. So to copy all, so we can make a new directory here called my etc or my Etsy, and then we could actually copy the entire contents of this specific folder over here. So we'll use that recursive option again. So let's mkdir my Etsy, and if I do a list, we now see that that is located in our home folder. So let's do cp-R give it an absolute path /etc udev, and we're going to copy that into my Etsy. That's the target. Okay, let's do a long listing of my Etsy. You see that has the udev folder in it. And now if we want to actually list that out and see the files, we can do ls-l capital R for recursive, my Etsy. And now we can see the udev folder, which also has some folders in it. And then that lists out those folders as well. So you can see we copied all of that information from this line right here, the cp-r, followed by the path you want to copy from, and then the target. We can also remove recursively. So let's say we wanted to remove this folder and everything within it. We would do rm-r, my Etsy. And now you see that entire folder and all of the folders within it are also gone. Okay, so we are getting into the move command. It's just the very last command. So I've talked about the touch command. So this again just creates a blank file. So let's touch pre-move. We do ls. You see that has been created. Now this is, like I said, the easiest way to just rename this is mv pre-move, which is the file that we're renaming, and then post move. Now if we do a listing, we see pre-move is gone. There's post move, but technically it's the same file. It's just, and I guess you could say it is moving it, but it's just placing it right back in the same place. So that's why I always just kind of consider it, that's how you rename a file in Linux Bash Shell. So that concludes this lab, NDG Linux Essentials Lab 8, Managing Files and Directories. Thanks a lot for watching, and I will see you in the next one.